What is your country, and what are some scams we should be aware of when visiting? I've lived in China for 9 months. A scam that I've heard about in larger cities like Beijing and Shanghai is that a student-aged person will come up to you and ask to practice their English. The supposed English practice will end up in a real tea/coffee house where they will ask you to pay for said tea/coffee because they are a poor student. The tea/coffee is invariably ridiculously overpriced, which a tourist wouldn't know about. Student and shop get a nice payout. Someone tried this with me while I was in Beijing last month. After telling them I'd lived in China for a while, I knew what was going on and had some fun. Played along until getting to the tea shop and looking at the menu, then said, in Chinese, "This tea is too expensive," and walked away giggling. On the other hand, it could turn out to be genuine. I've experienced both types in Vietnam. The first time, I was leaving a tourist attraction in Saigon, and as I was passing the cafe I was waved down by a young Vietnamese guy and girl who were already seated. I approached and they told me they wanted to practice their English. We all ordered drinks and started talking. I was naive at this point of my trip, but they were very genuine and smart, and it turned out the girl spoke French and had even studied in Paris. Before I left they even paid for my tea. Later, in another city, I was approached by someone on a motorbike who claimed to be a high school English teacher and wanted the opportunity for conversation over dinner. I hopped on, and he first took me to his apartment, which was a surprise to me because I expected him to take me to a restaurant. His family was sleeping on the floor in the first room as I walked in and weren't too interested in greeting me. That seemed a little odd, but I didn't think much of it at the time. We had a short conversation at the table during which he inquired about what I did and even asked at one point the pay is good. He introduced me to his son, but when I tried to talk to him about his son he seemed impatient. Then we left, and a short motorbike ride later we were at a restaurant where he seemed to know the owner. Food was ordered, and though I wasn't hungry he urged me to eat. But he was more insistent that I order an alcoholic beverage despite telling him that I don't drink. "You won't have any friends if you don't drink," I remember him rudely stating. He kept throwing them back though, and when I got concerned about his ability to drive me back I indicated I was ready to go. So back on the motorbike for a short but harrowing ride with a guy who was slightly inebriated. He dropped me off where he had picked me up, and just when I thought my suspicions may have been unfounded he demands that I pay him for the meal and drinks. That's when I lost it and blew up in his face. I yelled and cursed at him so hard that he just gave up and rode off after about 30 seconds. Egypt. If you visit the pyramids, prepare to meet a ton of souvenir sellers who will charge you 10x the price that they will demand from an Egyptian. The best idea is to go to an established souvenir shop. There are many big ones, instead of those guys near the tourist attractions. Also, they can tell where you are from and will charge you accordingly. If you are white, you'll attract a ton of attention from them. Asians are usually completely ignored unless they approach the vendors. Not a Ukrainian, but my friend told a story where ordered in a fish restaurant with fish priced by 100 grams. They brought him a ludicrous huge bill of 500 euros. He protested but they were dead serious about the price. So the police got involved. The officer heard the story and was all like, "Well, why don't you pay then? This is madness. How the F does the fish cost so much damn money?" So, he took him to the kitchen and showed him how. They put a fish into the bucket of ice and placed it on a scale there, 20 kilo of fish. The officer agreed that this is perfectly reasonable. It was either payment or arrest. In the Netherlands, homeless shelters are free nowadays. The homeless people who tell you they need 80 cents for a place to sleep are lying. It used to cost a total of 4 euros per night, but it doesn't anymore. Those who tell you they can't get welfare because they don't have a permanent address are lying as well. They get welfare via an ingenious system of PO boxes set up by the state and cities. I honestly don't mind people asking me for money, but I hate it when they lie about the reasons for doing so. America here, specifically North Carolina, but I've seen it in Texas too. People will come up to you in the parking lot of a grocery store with a sob story about running out of gas on their way back home to a town 50 miles away and ask for money. They may also have a wife and kids who are very hungry. For some reason, they get upset if you ask to see their driver's license so you can see if their permanent address is actually in that town. I've only witnessed this one once. A dude was trying to trade a gift card to the grocery store we were in for its cash value, even offering to let me check online/over the phone that the card was valid. Not sure what the end game is, maybe hoping people won't actually check. I'm from the UK. For God's sake, make sure you understand how the currency conversion from your country to ours works. I knew a guy who visited here and paid £90 for a short taxi ride, all because the taxi driver took advantage of his ignorance in said situation. I can see this being similar across many countries, but there are people out there who'll bet on you lacking knowledge in the money department. Do your research. Don't let them. Don't mistake this for racism, please. In Japan, if you go to the Roppongi area of Tokyo, then don't shake hands with the black guys who stand around trying to talk to people. Japan's society is so homogeneous, roughly 90% Japanese, 5% Chinese, 3% Korean. So you'll see them easily, and almost every single black man who puts his hand out for you to shake is trying to get you to go to his really cool secret club that he knows about. The thing is, once you shake his hand, he will not let go. He will grip you tightly and forcibly pull you into a bar while smiling and making nice so it doesn't draw any attention. Once you get in, you'll see a menu of affordable drinks and pay a not too bad seating charge, which you'll think is a hidden charge. But no, the actual hidden charge is the leaving fee. If you want to leave the club, you'll need to hand over an extortionate amount of money, or they'll call the police, who are not kind to foreigners in that particular area. These are mostly for tourist areas, but in France, if someone asks you about signing a petition, especially in English, mind your purse. Don't make eye contact. Don't respond. Keep walking. Even just by signing your name, they could be pickpocketing you when you're not looking, or they can make a big scene saying you've pledged to make a donation and yell at you till you give them money. In the US, don't take effing pictures with fake mascots. They will freak out if you don't give them money after, even if you give them money and they don't think it's enough. Seriously, I have seen these people smack around children. Plus their costumes are terrible. If you visit Chicago, beware of the scammers on the CTA trains that go around collecting money for their basketball team. Actually, youth sports teams raise money through fundraisers like selling chocolates, not walking around the trains with a flyer. Plus most of the kids look like they are 20 and are never able to give believable information when asked about their team. I don't know if this is exclusive to America, but I get calls all the time from Microsoft saying that they have detected a problem with your PC, and if you sign on for them, they can help fix it. Don't know what they get from it, because I've never given them control. Hollywood, California. On Hollywood Boulevard in front of the Chinese Theater, the main tourist drag, there are guys who will hand you a CD. Some will actually put it in your hand. Don't take them, they aren't free. Once you accept them, they tell you that you owe them $20. When you say no thanks and try to hand them back, they won't take them and they demand their money and will get aggressive. You try to give it back and they put their hands up saying it's yours now, pay me. If they put it in your hand, don't close your hand. Just let it drop and walk away. They will yell that you broke their CD and demand money, but if you ignore them and keep moving, they can't do much. If you do take one and they won't take it back, place it on the ground at their feet and get out of there. They will sometimes cuss at you, but so what? Just go. I live in France. Paris is a very touristic place, so if you plan to visit the city, you should be aware of the scams. First of all, don't buy souvenirs from people in the street. They often sell key rings, such as Eiffel Towers, little gadgets, sunglasses, bracelets, on a carpet on the floor. Ignore them. If you seem interested, they will insist until you buy something. It may be cheaper than the items in the shops, but in fact those are poor quality garbage. Plus, the money is given to some mafia. Also, there are many thieves. Don't act as a tourist and keep your things close to you, especially on the subway or in very touristic places, Montmartre, Le Trocadero. Don't let your phone on the table of a cafe if you are outside, even if you stay right there. When you go to the Eiffel Tower, you may encounter young girls who practically don't speak French. claiming they are tourists and asking for water. Don't even talk to them. They often distract you meanwhile another person steals your wallet, cell phone, etc. They are very good at it. Same as lost children in the subway who don't know where to go and don't really speak French. If you're not sure about it, report it to the persons working there, RATP, or the police for Rovière. There is a fairly big problem in Vietnam, where I live, but not where I'm from, with scooter or motorbike drivers snatching handbags, cameras, phones, etc. from people walking along the sidewalks or pavements. In my first week living in the country, I was going out for dinner and had a lovely golden colored handbag with my passport, wallet, and first month's rent inside. It was a small bag and I just had it on my shoulder while we walked. The mistake I made, because no one had told me, was that I had it on the roadside shoulder. Some biker just swerved onto the sidewalk, ripped it off me, and swerved back onto the road before I had a chance to say a thing. The people that were walking with me didn't even notice until after. It hurt my shoulder, and I lost my money, passport and a lovely bag, which matched my sandals. Bastard. After that I just remembered to always carry my bag on the inside. I made another mistake more recently without such a bad ending. I had out my iPad mini on the pavement, looking up a number. I just wasn't thinking. A guy drove up to me and tried to snatch it. I literally was hanging onto a small swatch of elastic where you put then pen on the case. There is a small window the snatcher has to get it and leave again before people notice and there will be problems. I held on long enough, he got worried and gave up and drove off. I was totally stunned. The whole thing was like 20 seconds tops. Afterwards, in my head, I fantasized about drop kicking him of his scooter. Moral: when you visit Vietnam, keep your bags on the inside shoulder and don't take out phones, wallets, iPads, cameras etc in plain view without be very guarded and aware. Give award. Please like and subscribe for more Reddit videos.